Welcome everyone. Today's topic is how to retire early with real estate. The question is, what does retirement look like for you? Rebecca, would you like to volunteer? What is like retirement like for you? What is it?
Well, I think retirement for me is going to be to have my business on autopilot so that I don't have to be working every day, that I pretty much am just cashing checks and doing a little bit of work now and then on my properties.
Perfect. And then have you accomplished retirement right now? What is it that is holding you back? What is it that you would need?
Well, we're pretty much there right now. My other business, I go in once a week. I will never be able to retire from that because I own the business, so I have to be there once a week. But as far as the real estate goes, we could stop right now and we would be okay. But we want to get a little bit more, get a few more rentals under our belt so that we can be a little bit more comfortable. And the only thing that's really holding me back from that right now is finding properties. And so I just re-upped with ChicagoDealVault, and I've been spending the past 3 days writing letters for probate and pre-foreclosures, and I've got a stack of about 500 letters that's getting ready to go out. And so I'm hoping to get some leads from that and be able to start buying some properties again.
That's amazing. Great job, Rebecca. Kudos to you.
I had to learn how to do mail merge to get all the addresses and the stuff in so I could print all the letters out myself.
Okay, so through ChicagoDealVault, we can do the mail merge for you automatically. If you need any assistance, please let us know.
Thanks.
Who else? What about Sam? What does retirement look for you?
Are you talking to me? Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, for retirement is for me just to have some steady income and go in Florida or somewhere warm and lay on the beach and not worry about anything and any payment.
Awesome. What's holding you back from being there?
Well, is it just that how to begin investing and how to do the right way and not make any mistake, because it's too late if you make a mistake at my age, at least.
That makes sense. Thank you, Sam. Anybody else? What about Brian?
Yes, Hugo. For me, retirement is being able to go to sleep, and while I'm sleeping, I'm still making money. Basically, have enough cash flow that will support my lifestyle. Being able to, enough cash flow coming in that I don't have to worry about. Like, everything is covered from that cash flow. Basically support my lifestyle.
How far are you from being there? Because I know you own a rental, you're doing rentals. So how far are you from that?
I'm still far, very far.
Really? How many rentals do you need to have?
So I'm hoping to have $15,000 cash flow a month. So I'm way far from that. So hopefully we can achieve it sooner than later, but probably between 20 to 30 properties, it would, probably, hopefully that would make the goal achieve, just depending on what's the cash flow on each property.
That makes sense.
And hoping to transition more to multifamily from single family homes. Will probably, starting out, probably single family homes okay, but my main focus is to get into multifamily.
And the reason is cash flow?
Correct. cash flow.
Awesome. Were you thinking residential 2 to 4 or 5 and up commercial?
Both.
Both.
Yes.
Is there anything holding you back from going multi-unit right now?
Yes, there's not enough leads. I think, you know, as everybody knows, this market is very tight right now. I think that's the main reason.
That's the main reason. Okay. Anybody else would like to share? How about Eric, Jonathan, Luz, Maria?
You know, for me, it's learning the business. I am very new to this. I'm a small business owner, but I went through a pretty ugly divorce, and I was a multi-unit Subway owner, food franchise owner, and lost everything through a divorce. So I'm trying to work on that right now to find another industry to provide me cash flow and sustainable income. So property rentals and, you know, monthly deals are what I'm looking for.
Sounds great, Eric. Thank you. Anybody else? What about Luz? Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, so let's dive into it. So what retirement pretty much seems to be the same. Oh, were you gonna say something, Luz? Okay, please let us know if you want to jump in. So retirement seems to
Hey,
be. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
wonder if you could, you've got your two screens are switched. I've got one screen that says your mic is on, that's got nothing, and I've got another screen with your face that says it's muted. There we go.
Oh, how is this? Is this better?
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you, Rebecca.
Papa, I'm done.
No, Gigi. Just started. The little one is asking we're done. No, just started. Okay, so pretty much we're getting the same answer, right, from everyone. What is it like to have retirement, right? Passive income, that's the answer, right? Now, how much passive income? Everyone's lifestyle is different, so depending on your lifestyle, then it's driven by how much you need, what is it like that you need to cover for expenses, but that's pretty much it. Now, the question is that you should be able to accomplish that fast enough. And how do you accomplish that? Through real estate owning rentals. Because let me tell you, when you have a business, right, guess what? You don't have a job, but now you own a job. So by owning rentals, guess what? You're leveraging from other people's money and other people's time. And that's how you accomplish retirement early, because guess what? The business does not depend on you. Okay, so when you have a rental portfolio, you're going to have property management in place. They're going to be in charge of collecting rents, managing tenants, maintenance issues, and you can sit and relax. Just like what Rebecca said, real estate could become in autopilot. Okay, so now the question is, how did you do it, right? How did you recycle money? How did you use other people's money? You need to have a system. You need to have knowledge, and you need to have funding. But most importantly, as Sam said, you need to do the right steps, right? So you don't make mistakes, and especially, right, some people cannot afford to make mistakes, right? Because you can lose it all and just be out of real estate in no time, right? When you make mistakes. So the question is, how have we done it, right? In the last 2.5 years, we've done 33 rentals, okay? Averaging about 300 to 400 per unit. So if you do the math, it's well over 10,000, right? In passive income, right? So the most important thing is not only the money, but is the freedom of time. Because guess what? Time is an intangible asset, and that's the most precious that we can possibly have, okay? So you cannot afford to waste time. Now, doing rentals, as Brian said, multi-unit, and I agree 100% with him. Multi-unit is the quickest way to accomplish financial freedom in real estate. The reason why is because when you get into multi-unit, you can pretty much take your real estate investment effort, boom, to the next level, cash-wise, okay? Let me give you an example. Let me share my screen in just a second. So what we're doing is we're analyzing multi-units from the MLS, and we're finding amazing deals when it comes to 6 units and up, okay? So what we care about is cash flow, and that's what multi-unit properties are amazing for, okay? Personally, we only have 4 multi-units. We have a 2 flat, 2 3 flats, and 1 4 flat, okay? But now we're looking into 6 flat and up, okay? The reason why is because cash flow is going to be way better. You're going to be paying less money per unit or per door compared to a single family home. However, appreciation is higher in single family homes because the math is higher than for multi-unit. So it's more difficult to sell a multi-unit compared to a single family home. Also, tenants, you're going to be getting better quality tenants for single family homes than for multi-unit, because multi-unit you're going to end up having a higher turnover of tenants, and that is just normal, right? Because eventually people want to have a single family home, right? That's just the pride of ownership. Therefore, you'll be getting better tenants with single family homes. So the idea is to use other people's money and other people's time. So how do you do that? So the question is finding a great deal. That's what it boils down to, that cash flows, and you end up with at least 25% equity. So let me share my screen and show you some multi-units that just came in the market in the last 2 days that made a lot of sense. So let me pull that up for you. Okay, links and share my screen. Okay. Okay, right here. Let me make sure everyone sees my screen. Okay, here we go. Share. Okay. So let me go to the multi-unit and let me scroll down to yesterday's. Okay, so what we're doing is in fact, one just came in today. Okay, but let me show you the last 2 that we were able to get. Okay, so what we're doing is we're setting searches throughout the top 20 flipping markets and 20 rental markets, okay? So let me give an example of this property. Let's look at the one that came in yesterday. So this is a 12-unit building, okay? So what we do is we take the rental income, we analyze all the operating expenses, and then we end up with the positive cash flow. So I'm gonna scroll all the way to the right. I'm gonna tell you what you need to look at when analyzing multi-unit, okay? In this case, this particular property, I'm highlighting the last column. We focus on the cash flow per door per month. So this particular building, it's a 12-unit building in Allsip. By the way, Allsip is the second best rental market. The first top rental market is Berkeley. What it means is that you can afford a single family home for less than $200,000, but yet the rents are through the roof. A 2 or 3 bedroom house in Allsip will rent for over $1,800. No wonder why the positive cash flow on this building is $430 per month, okay? Think about this. Multiply this by 12 units, okay? So you're gonna be cash flowing close to $5,000 a month, okay? That is positive cash flow after paying all the operating expenses. Okay. The second ratio that is very critical for us is the cash on cash return. What it means is that you're going to take your NOI, which is your net operating income, and that is your income minus all your operating expenses, and you are going to divide that by your, that is divided by the down payment, right? So you know how much your money that you're investing into the property is giving you a return for. So in this case, anything over 15% is really good. In this case, cash on cash is 35.95. So it's super amazing. What this tells you is that you're leveraging big time from your investment, right? You are not only getting your money back fairly quickly, like in about, for this particular case, you might be getting your money back in less than 7 years, but you're going to be cash flowing on a monthly basis. And this is just a ratio. DCR stands for debt coverage ratio. This is very critical, and we compute this because lenders are looking at this ratio. They want properties to have a 1.2 debt coverage ratio. What it means is they're taking the net operating income divided by the debt service, meaning the principal and interest. So they want to make sure that where you are collecting in rent minus your operating expenses will not only pay for the principal and interest, but it will also give you a surplus of cash of at least 20%. So having a debt coverage ratio of 2.1 means that you're going to have pretty much almost twice as much cash what it takes to pay the mortgage. Let me just give you an example. Right here, the principal and interest on this property is 43. Let me highlight the column. It'll be 4,300. So that's how much the principal and interest is going to be. Well, guess what? We're cash flowing per month about 4,800. Does that make sense? So not only are we able to pay the 4,300, well, we are cash flowing 4,800. So pretty much almost twice as much as what we pay the bank. So for the bank, this is an amazing deal, which means that you're going to get funding like not tomorrow for this deal. So these are the numbers, and obviously we highlight the properties that make sense. And these just came today. So today is the 28th. Yeah, today is the 28th. This property is in Wheeling, okay? This is a 6 flat. It's selling for $749. Now here is going to be the down payment. When you get into multi-unit 5 and up, you're going to be required to put down 25%. But I just want to show you the numbers, right? Positive cash flow per unit is $248. And the reason why is because Wheeling, it's not one of the top rental markets. It's one of the top flipping markets, okay? But still, it will cash flow $248 per property. So anything that is over $200 and so dollars, we qualify this as a great deal, right? So per door. But that's an example of what Brian was saying, right? I want to go multi-unit, and this is the reason why, because overnight you can leverage right away, right? From not only paying less money per unit. So if you think about it, this building, a 6 flat, is $750. Okay, so you are paying about $115,000 per unit. Okay, in Wheeling, which is extremely low, right? You won't be able to buy a townhome for no less than 180 or so in Wheeling. Okay, so that's what makes multi-unit extremely attractive, because not only are you going to be able to pay a lot less per door, and therefore your cash flow is going to be higher. Now, something to keep in mind, okay, I want to point this out. When you're looking at multi-unit, oftentimes investors overlook certain fixed expenses that you need to incur that you don't when you have a single family home. Let me just quickly tell you what those are. When you own a single family home, you're going to be paying taxes and insurance. And in fact, oftentimes this is in escrow. You pay principal, interest, tax, and insurance. Okay, that's a given. However, when you get into multi-unit, you need to pay attention because you're going to be paying for heating gas most of the times, over 80% of the times. So you are responsible for like the big furnace in the basement. That bill is yours to pay. Trash, right? Something that you don't think about in single family homes, because when you pay taxes, guess what? They give you two bins, recycle and trash, and they take care of it. They come once a week and boom, you forget about it. Well, not when you're in multi-unit. You've got to have a dumpster for these many units, and you're going to need to pay for that out of pocket. So that's part of the operating expenses. Another bill that you don't think when you own a single family home, the tenant always pays for a single family home the water bill, right? But guess what? In multi-unit, you don't have that concept. Why? Because you don't have separate meters for every unit when it comes to water. There's only one water meter, and guess who pays for that? You pay for it as the owner. So something to keep in mind. And water is not cheap. Look at the bills on these buildings. It's in the thousands. These are yearly expenses. Electric, something you don't even think about when you own a single family home, because when the tenant moves in a single family home, by default, they're going to pay for gas, electric, water, and even exterior maintenance. However, multi-unit, you're going to need to pay for common electric, like the staircases, front and back, basement, right? So you are in charge of common electric. Then cleaning, right? When you own a single family home, they take care of their own cleaning, but not in a multi-unit. You're going to need to take care of the common area. Some multi-units, like big buildings, 6 and up, are in association. So you're going to see the same building like 100 times, right? In an association, you're going to need to pay HOA, even though it's a multi-unit. Many don't have these, but some do. That's something to keep in mind. Maintenance of common areas, right? And also units. Property management is going to be very critical. And this is a mistake that I see very often. People who get into multi-unit tend to do the property management themselves. It's a big mistake, okay? Because it's a lot harder to do property management on multi-unit because of what I told you earlier. You are going to have a higher turnover of tenants, and they're going to be calling you left and right. So you do not want to manage these yourself, because guess what? You're not going to be able to enforce rent collection as a property management will. You're not going to be sending monthly statements. They will. You may not want to take phone calls in the middle of the night for a leaking toilet, right? They will. You may forget to renew leases when they're due. You may not be able to enforce a rent increase after the lease expires. They will. You may not know the landlord-tenant ordinance, as the property management will do. You may not send the 5-day notice on time when they don't pay on the first. They will. I can go on and on and on the pros and cons of self-managing versus professionally managing your multi-units. So let me tell you, when we rehab a single family home, just like Brian did recently in Elgin, it's in awesome condition. You can afford to self-manage that, especially because I said single family homes, you're going to get better quality tenants, especially when they're paying over $1,500 in rent, right? But multi-units, it's a different story. So you do have to have a professional property management in place. Very, very important. And obviously, as you can see in this column, that's a hidden expense that oftentimes it goes overlooked when analyzing multi-units. But we take it into account, okay? There's no question about self-managing multi-unit. You have to have a professional company do that. So you add all the operating expenses, right? It's in the thousands, of course. So the net operating income is going to be your total rental income minus your operating expenses. Okay, that's a critical number for you to understand. And then obviously we have the principal and interest. So that's going to be 75% of the loan, right? Because 25% is going to be your down payment, and then we compute this yearly to be able to get the cash flow per year and the cash flow per door on a yearly basis. And with those numbers, we can easily compute the debt coverage ratio, which is, as I said before, the NOI divided by the debt service. So I just wanted to give you an overview of how you can quickly retire with multi-unit, okay? And in fact, I just came from meeting one of our members, DealVault member. I'm gonna see if he's on the line. No, he's not on the line, okay? So he just got a big lump sum, right? He's in his 60s, and he told me, Hugo, I don't have time to build a big rental empire, right? I'm this age, I want to retire early, I have this much money, right? So what do you recommend? I said, Ron, you've got to go multi-unit, okay? You cannot go single-family homes because it's going to take you, especially right now with the shortage of inventory, it's going to take you forever. Plus, you're going to need some time, right, to put into each rehab, finding the deal, refinancing is going to take forever. You've got to go multi-unit. Not only that, but a portion of your money should be lent, right? So in fact, you know, he's going to pledge a portion of his inheritance towards cash flow inner circle group. So we're going to be leveraging from his funds to lend for your deals. Okay, so in the last week, I've raised another $500,000 in cash to fund your deals, which is huge. Right now, we are at 1.5 million as we speak of cash to fund your deals for those of you who belong to the cash flow inner circle group. Okay, so he's going to be doing that multi-unit plus lending money through our cash flow inner circle fund, and that's going to be a really fast way for him to have passive income on both sides, lending money and having cash flow from a multi-unit. Okay, so we're going to be working on helping him achieve his goal very fast. I mean, before the end of the year, he's going to have passive income from both sides, lending money and cash flow in multi-unit. Okay, so it's going to be super, super exciting. He's going to be one of our next success stories in the upcoming months. Okay, now why is real estate so critical for you to get there, right, in retirement? Because let me show you a very simple graph of what it looks like for most people, right? So what I'm going to do is, this is the net worth, okay? So typically I'm going to set it, let's say 1 million, okay? And this is age. So let's say 30s, 60s, and 90s, right? So typically most people think that, let's say when they reach somewhere in the 60s, right? So it takes this long to reach $1 million, okay, in net worth. Let's assume through real estate, right? But then what happens once you reach that age, right? And then it's your retirement age. Let's say you have a pension plan, 401k, you have stocks, mutual funds, whatever. The problem is that when you reach retirement age, they're going to need to withdraw money, right, on a monthly basis. So what's going to happen to this money? Over time, it's going to go down. And it is a very scary place to be, right? Because you spend most of your life saving, and then when you reach a certain age, boom, you're going to need to withdraw, and you don't know, right, how quickly that money is going to run out. So it's a scary feeling and place to be. Whereas if you invest in real estate, you're going to be able to get to the 1 million a lot faster, right? So you don't need to wait till you are in your retirement age. Like the official age is, I think, 66, 67. So you're going to be able to do it a lot quicker. And not only that, but guess what? You never, ever have to worry about your net worth going down when you withdraw money. It's going to be the opposite. It's going to continue going up. How so? Very simple. Property values. What happens to property values over time? They go up. Therefore, your net worth is going to go up. What happens to the rental market? Over time, rents, what? Go up. So even if you take out money, it doesn't matter because on a yearly basis, your passive income will continue to go up and your net worth will continue to go up by appreciation, right? So in here, you're going to get there faster and you never have to worry about losing your net worth. It's going to be the opposite. It's going to continue to grow through real estate. And what's so powerful about rentals is that when your net worth goes up, obviously your equity in the properties go up. So guess what the wealthy do? They never sell a property. You know what they do? They refinance. They tap into their equity. So what does that mean? Let's say if you want to pay for your children's college, or if you're going to pay for your children's wedding, guess what? You're not going to need to sell a property to cash out. You're going to refinance, tap into the equity of your properties to get money out, pay for whatever you need to pay, and guess who's going to pay for that? You're right, tenants. Tenants are going to pay for it, right? Because your equity is going up, right? Rents are going up. So when you tap into that equity, tenants are going to pay for it. So that is extremely powerful, leveraging from other people's money and other people's time to achieve early retirement. And not only that, but continue to increase your net worth. This is when you are an investor in real estate, okay? If you're a wholesaler or a flipper, it's not going to be that case. Why? Because you're running on the treadmill. The minute you stop doing wholesales, the minute you stop doing lead generation through FISBOs, driving for dollars, mailers, bandit signs, cold calling, guess what happens to your net worth? Guess what happens to your income? It goes down to zero. The same applies for flippers. The minute you stop doing flips, guess what happens to your income? It goes down to zero. And most importantly, guess what your net worth is? When you do a wholesale, are you building equity? Are you building net worth? You're not. You're just cashing a big paycheck. When you're doing a flip, are you building equity for the long run? You're not. You're just cashing a big paycheck, right? It's a good strategy, don't get me wrong, to do micro flipping or wholesales because that's going to help you capitalize, meaning have capital to do more deals, right? So you have to do flips and wholesales as a side strategy, but your main strategy should be rentals, because when you do rentals, you leverage from other people's time and money, so you get passive income. And the other option that I mentioned is once you get to a certain level of equity, guess what? You can tap into that equity to lend money to other investors at 12% interest rate. You see the power of that? So not only are you going to be making money off of the passive income, but you can also become a private money lender, okay? So it's extremely powerful, and that's what I did in the last week, right? I reached out to some of our members who I know have enough cash, liquid assets sitting in the bank, not generating them any income, right? Other than maybe 5-7%, right? So my deal to them is, would you be interested in making a 12% return on your money? How about that, right? So they're obviously super interested. So now there's more money to be lent than obviously deals to be funded because of the shortage of inventory. But guess what? When things reopen, hopefully towards the end of the year, early spring, we're going to start to see a tsunami wave. Once all the pending pre-foreclosures enter the court, right, and eventually recycle back into the market, you need to be ready. You need to have knowledge and funding. That is why through the CASHFLOW Inner Circle group, I have raised 1.5 million in cash to fund your deals, and my goal is to have 5 million. Okay, why? Because when this tsunami wave comes of awesome deals, I want to be able to fund all of your deals, right? Obviously, they need to make sense. You need to have some reserves and FICO score of 680 and up, because we want to make sure that you're able to refinance successfully to pay off the rehab loan and turn that into a rental loan, okay? Now, are there any questions so far? Let me get my headphones. Any
I have a
questions so
question
far?
for you. Well, I have a question.
Yes.
We have always done our own property management. Currently, we've got about 13 units, and we've always, all these years, have done our own property management. I'd like to stop doing that. We do have an 8-unit apartment building that drives us a little bit crazy, especially since it's a half a mile away from our house. So our tenants lean on us pretty heavy. I haven't been able to find a property management company that doesn't charge an arm and a leg, and I'm wondering who other people use and how much they're paying for that.
Great question, Rebecca. Okay, before I do that, Brian is asking, would you suggest HELOC versus cash out refinance? Yeah, absolutely, Brian. So HELOC is a home equity line of credit, but this is the trick. Not many lenders offer HELOCs on investment properties, okay, only on your primary residence. But I'm gonna give you a great tip, okay? So I want you all to check out unison.com, okay? Make sure you write this down. Unison, I'm gonna put it on the chat, okay? Unison.com, it's a partnership equity. So you're gonna be able to cash out, well, guess what? They are not going to require a monthly payment. They're gonna make money when you sell the property. So pretty much it's like free money. We've done it on a couple of properties, primary residence and an investment property. So make sure that you check them out, Unison. It's a third alternative. So you have, as what Brian said, home equity line of credit, but again, you might be limited to only your primary residence. You can do a cash out refinance. That's a great alternative, especially now that the rates are low, to do a cash out refinance. And the third option is Unison. It's a partnership equity company. So it's super, super powerful. Please check it out. Thank you for bringing that up, Brian. Now, let me answer your question on property management. Okay, so who's asking? So it's Rebecca. Okay, so that was one of my problems, right? I didn't like property management companies for two reasons, right? First of all, they tap into your rental income, okay? I didn't like that because we tend to do yearly leases. Why? We want to increase the rent on a yearly basis, right? And then the property management company would tap into that. So I was like, why, right? Why if I increase my rents, my property management fee is going to go up, right? It doesn't make sense. I didn't like that. So they're going to be charging you anywhere between 7 to 10% off of the rents, which I didn't like. And then guess what? Guess what I discovered? They don't make money on the management percentage. They charge you on a monthly basis. The 6 to 10%, that's peanuts for them. You know where they make the money? Maintenance. They charge you an arm and a leg on maintenance just to change a light bulb. $40, $60. I mean, just ridiculous prices, right? And some of them give you spreadsheet of what their typical charges are for certain maintenance items. They're insane. So I was not happy about that. So I was determined to find the best investment-friendly property management, which I did. So this was my objective. I wanted the property management company that, number one, would not tap into a percentage of my rental income. Number two, that would not rip me off on maintenance items. I wanted them to use our maintenance crew, our handyman, okay? And I found one. It's Secure Pay One. I can share my screen to show you their contact information, okay? So I'm gonna log on to ChicagoDealVault and then go on their preferred partners, property management, Secure Pay One. Let them know that you're coming from DealVault. And what I love about them is that they charge you a flat fee per unit, okay? So we pay $50 per unit. Oh, what happened to my password? Okay, let me show you here. Oh my goodness. First, and okay, let me save these. So you go to preferred partners, and then in here go to property management. We have over 300 preferred partners. Okay, property management right here. We have a couple of them, but what I like about them is they charge us a flat fee, $50 per door, and guess what? We give them a list of our contractors. Okay, so we have a list of plumbing, electric, generic maintenance, windows, and so forth, right? And then for plumbing, we give them like 2 people. If the first one is busy, then go to the second one. So they get to use our contractors. In that way, we have maintenance expenses under control. They never go out of control. And number 2, they never tap into our rental income. It's $50 flat. And another thing that I didn't like about property management companies is that they are not paying you right away when they get the money from the tenants. They would hold off, use your money, and pay you maybe on the 15th of the month or towards the end of the month. I didn't like that because they're utilizing your money. I said, I want you to pay me, do the transfer as soon as the tenant pays. And that's how this property management company works. As soon as they get the money from the tenant, boom, it goes to your account. That is very critical, right? So make sure that you get in touch with them. It's really powerful, okay, to have a professional property management in place that can renew leases. They can also, some of them screen tenants, be on top of the landlord-tenant ordinance, collect rents on time, send 5-day notices, engage an eviction attorney if needed. Obviously, with the moratorium on evictions, you cannot do anything about it. And most importantly, enforce rent collection and rent increases when leases expire. So it's super critical to have them manage your properties, okay? You don't want that job to self-manage properties because guess what? Let me tell you, you're gonna do such a poor job that you're gonna be losing more than what you gain by saving or not engaging a professional property management company. Okay, Rebecca is asking, are they nationwide? They were just bought out. Yeah, Secure Pay One. They were just bought out by a nationwide company. Okay, they're local, but they were bought out. Okay, but they're awesome. Okay, I really like them. So that's something that you or I cannot do. Okay, let me tell you that. Not only that, some villages have yearly inspections, and you need to take like crime-free classes. They'll take care of it for you. Okay, so it's totally worth it. Again, especially for multi-unit. Are there any other questions on the line? Great question, Rebecca.
Ray, I did it. I'm sorry, Hugo. I missed the maintenance part. Are they charging for every maintenance they do on the units?
No, they're going to dispatch the list of contractors that you gave them. So I gave them a spreadsheet with 2 or 3 names for every, for instance, for plumbing, for electric, for rotting, for just simple maintenance issues. So I gave them 2, 3 contractors. So they're going to dispatch them in that order. If the first one is not available, they go to the second one, but they're going to dispatch our crew. Not only that, either they pay them, they have our credit cards, so they are authorized to make payments up to, I believe, 250. If it's over 250, they'll send me an email asking me for authorization to make a payment. Okay. So yeah, it's just totally worth it, right? Some people want to save pennies, but they end up wasting dollars when they do self-management. Okay, so please, that's the worst of the jobs that you want to do in real estate because that's going to take your focus away from what's going to make you money in real estate just to do something that it's totally not awesome, right? Property management. One question is, are you looking for certain cap rates when buying a multi-unit? No, I don't look at the cap rates. Let me go back to the spreadsheet. I look at cash flow per door per month because let me tell you, cap rates, are driven by neighborhoods. Let me give you an example. So a cap rate is the return on investment. When you go to really great neighborhoods like Lincoln Park, Gold Coast, like A neighborhoods, guess what? Your cap rate is going to be so low, below 4%. When you go to maybe C neighborhoods, then the risk that you're taking is higher. You know, rent, you may not have collectible tenants. Therefore, your cap rate should be greater than 7, 8%, right? So it depends on the neighborhood. But like this one, right, that I show you in Wheeling. Wheeling is an A- neighborhood, okay? But yeah, you're getting a cap rate of over 8%. That's amazing. For really stable, awesome neighborhoods, you should be getting a cap for somewhere in the 5, 6%. So anywhere above 6%, it's an awesome deal. But I don't look at cap rates that much. That's just a way for you to understand the market value of the property driven by the income. But I always go by cash flow, right? It all boils down to cash flow, because let me tell you, there are some multi-units that they have huge operating expenses, and tax bills could be really high. But there are some multi-units that have separate utilities, like they have separate furnaces in each unit. So guess what? Your gas bill, instead of being $4,000 or $5,000, is zero. So your cash flow is going to get a boost from it. So that's something that you need to look for every single property that you analyze. Another question is $50 per door per month. Yes, yeah, that's how much they charge. Screen rent collection, tenant screening, turnover, yeah, absolutely everything. And when you have a vacancy, they're not going to charge you. Okay, so it's really, really, really good. That's exactly what I wanted. And we tried many property management companies, like some nationwide. They were really big, but no, not happy with none of them. Anybody else?
Yeah, Hugo, I have a question, but it's too much to type out, so if I'll just talk, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course, it's faster.
Okay. When you're buying multi-units, have you ever found that you're able to do the same type of thing you can do with a single-family home, where if you find a multi-unit that you're buying for below market value, that you don't actually have to come up with the 25% of the purchase price? You only have to come up with 25% of the after repair value or the market value? Or are they going to look at the purchase price for the 25%?
Great question. So let me just answer the question for the $50 per door. Lisa, what it means is that you pay $50 per month per property. Or if it's a multi-unit, if it's a 4-flat, it's going to cost you $200 per month to manage that building. Excuse me for a second. Okay, thank you. So that's the $50 per door. Eric, can you add the links to both of your groups, CashFlow and the other group, to join? Absolutely. So here we have the DealVault Academy. So in here, you can find the links for both actually it's this one. This is the link that you need. The second link, and that we have both the CashFlow and the Wholesale group. Okay, Eric, hopefully you can join either one of them. We meet for the Wholesale on Tuesday, 6:30, and CashFlow we meet Sunday, 1 p.m. So let me answer the question. Lisa, is every door in the unit, sorry, I might be, yeah, so door means one unit. So if you have a 2-flat, you're gonna pay $100. If it's a 3-flat, $150. A 10-unit building, you're gonna pay $500 per month. Now let's go and answer Rebecca's question. Are you able to leverage the same way as single-family homes when it comes to funding, right? So it's a different ballgame when it comes to funding. When you go 5 and up, by default, you're gonna need to have 25% down, skin in the game. That's the biggest difference versus single-family home. With single-family home, you can get away with maybe 10% if you use a hard money lender. If you use a private money lender, you can have zero money on the deal because they can give you 100% of the purchase and 100% of the rehab, right? Like for cash flow, in a circle fund, we give you 100% of both purchase and rehab up to 200,000. But when it's multi-unit, the thing is that most of those buildings are already occupied, right? So it's not like you're gonna come in and do rehab on the building. So it's already occupied. You're already collecting rent. So you're just gonna keep up with the maintenance. Therefore, it is harder to find like vacant buildings, right? So you're gonna be paying, since they don't appreciate as much as single family homes, you're gonna be paying right now, even with the shortage of inventory, a little bit less than retail price for big multi-unit buildings. Single family homes are going for over asking price if it's through the MLS. You always have to go off market. But for multi-units that are already turnkey, right, generating income, it is hard to end up with 25% equity on the back end, okay? You're gonna have that 25% equity. Why? Because you're putting down 25% down for down payment, but it is harder to end up with a lot of equity on the back end when you buy multi-unit. It's not impossible, but it is harder. So here the entry barrier is having a down payment, right? So that is the biggest challenge when you want to enter the multi-unit world. But once you enter that, is when it comes to cash flow, it's just a very fast way to ramp up your rental empire, right? Because you're going to have cash flowing properties overnight, right? You don't need to do big rehabs because they're already rented, they're occupied. So yeah, there's not much leverage. And I've seen vacant buildings, right? But guess what? Doing a 6 flat rehab is gonna take you over 6 months, right? So I'd rather pay more money and do less work that is already cash flowing, right? Than buying a vacant building and then putting a lot of money into that and then leasing every single unit. That project can take you up to a year, best case scenario. So it's best to buy already a turnkey building that is cash flowing. Like the ones that I show you, if they cash flow, all you need to do is obviously come up with the 25% down, but that is why you're going to partner up with people, right? You can have 2 people or so partner up on these type of deals, so it's easier. Does that answer your question, Rebecca?
It does. We just got really spoiled with our 8-unit because it was a fire sale, and we bought it at about 65% of its value. So it was cash flowing like crazy. But we did rehab the whole building several years later, and it did take a year. We completely rehabbed every unit. We emptied the building out. We were going to sell it as condos, and then the market fell apart. So now we've got high-end apartments. But we still have a ton of equity in it. I think its market value right now is close to $1 million, and we only owe about $300,000 on it.
Whoa, that's huge. Where is the building located?
It's in New Lenox. I can practically see it from my house. It's a literal half mile from my house, and I was just able to get a line of credit on it. I got a $200,000 line of credit.
That's awesome. How many units is that?
There's 8 units. Each one, they're all identical, 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. And we rehabbed them.
How much did you put in rehab?
Oh gosh, probably between all the rehab plus we did the lawn and the roof and the parking lot and everything else, we probably put in between $200,000 and $250,000 to rehab the whole building.
Yeah, of course, that's a huge job, right? So
Yeah.
I rather, yeah, no, that's a big job. So my suggestion is to buy them when they're already rehab, they already have tenants, and try to negotiate, get them for a great deal that they will cash flow like right away as soon as you buy it. That's what I suggest, right?
Yeah.
Because then
Well,
in that case, if you're going to rehab an 8-unit building, as you said, rehab is like over 200,000, right? Plus purchase price. I mean, you're talking like big dollar amounts. So the risk goes through the roof, and you need to have big reserves to do that. So
we would
not anybody can
not have
do that.
done,
And again, the money is not in the rehab, okay? So the money is on
yeah.
in and out fast.
Yeah, we had not done it just to rehab it, to make them nice. We did it to sell the building as condos. If we weren't going to sell it as condos, we never would have done that big rehab. We would have just kept it clean and presentable, and that would have been good enough.
Right, that makes sense. There's a question, Shanda. Do you buy the 1% rule per door? It does not apply. So the 1% means that the purchase and the rehab, let's assume it's 150,000 for a single family home. You need to be able to rent it for at least 1,500. The big difference with multi-unit, as I showed you earlier, that you have a lot more operating expenses like trash, water, electric, cleaning. Therefore, you really need to look at all the expenses, and then as I show you in the last column, the cash flow per door per month. Okay, so yeah, it's not as easy as the 1% rule of thumb, right? When you analyze single family homes. Multi-unit, there are a lot more hidden expenses that you need to account for, like the gas bill, right? To heat up the entire building. So the 1%, thank you for bringing that up, does not apply to multi-unit. Great question. Are there any other questions?
Hey, Hugo, this is Vishal.
Oh, hi,
I saw
Vishal.
your I saw your Excel sheet earlier. You were showing something in Alsip and some other properties, multi-unit, some yellow marker or something. So are they under contract or what is their status right now?
Oh, no, the yellow means that we flag it as a great deal, like cash flowing. But some of them, I just looked at one today in Mount Prospect. It came maybe 5 days ago. It's already contingent. Um, so yeah, some of these properties will go also very fast because they're cash flowing like very nicely. So yellow means great deal, that we vetted the deal, that is cash flowing over $250 per month. That's what it means.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, no problem, Michelle. And that is Brian's question. What cash flow amount do you look for each unit in a multifamily building? 250 and up. But you know, we've seen multi-units that are cash flowing 400 and up, 430, 450. And those are typically in top rental markets like Allsip, Des Plaines, where you can get that kind of cash flow per unit. Or when there are newer buildings where they separated the gas, meaning they have separate furnaces in each unit. Let me show you one that we found in Des Plaines. Des Plaines is a top rental market. Let me pull this up. Okay, so let me show you this one. Okay, so these 386 Oak Trails Road in Des Plaines, it's a six flat for almost 700,000. If I scroll all the way to the right, the cash flow was 347 per unit, okay, per month. So if it's a six flat, you're cash flowing close to a little bit over 2,000 positive cash flow after all the expenses are paid, including the debt service, meaning principal and interest. Cash on cash, 35%, debt coverage ratio, 1.7, which you're going to be getting funding for it, no problem, so long you have the 25% down. Cap rate, pretty high, 8.69. This place is an A neighborhood. Schools are great. Rents are through the roof in these planes. I mean, these 2-bedroom apartments were renting for $1,400 each, and each tenant paid their own electric and gas. So that's just an example of one. But this particular building had an HOA. Let me show you. So that's something that you need to be aware of. HOA, you see, $3,600. So a year. So be aware of that. Some buildings you're going to need to pay HOA. So HOA not only applies to condos, but it also applies to multi-unit when they're in a big association, because they take care of all the exterior maintenance like snow removal, the roof, and some key common elements. Another question is, our cash flow right now on the 8 unit is around $350 per door. That's awesome. That's what you're looking for. So again, you're gonna get into the multi-unit when you want to retire fast and grow a big rental empire very quickly. The only difficult part of getting into the multi-unit is the down payment, 25%. But again, that is why you can do a joint venture, you can do a partnership on these type of transactions. So yeah, congratulations, Rebecca. That's amazing. 350. That's awesome. Anybody else? Any other questions? Hey, Luz, I know you were looking into, was that a 3-flat, right? In, near Lakeshore, in Pilsen. Whatever happened to that building that you were looking at?
It's gone.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I went and see the building, and I like it, and I sent you an email, and it was gone. They an offer, and they accept the offer. So, yep.
Did they tell you more about like what offer they took? How much money? Was it above asking price, or did they tell you anything, or was she just gone?
No, they didn't. I just called the agent, and I'm like, listen, I'm ready to put an offer, and he's like, well, it's already under contract. They accept an offer. I'm like, okay. I mean, it is what it is. Let's just move on to the next building.
Right.
Yep.
So tell us about your experience, because I believe you're a broker, right? And you're looking into multi-unit buildings.
I'm not a broker. I'm an investor. Yes,
Investor.
I have a multi-unit, and yes, and I want to get multi-unit for that reason. I mean, they cash flow, and that's what I'm looking for. So for me, it's easy just to get a building with 3-4 units than a single family home. I mean, don't take me wrong. If I see something, a single family unit that it's a good deal, why not? But I don't know. I just like buildings.
Right, exactly for the same reason. And so the great thing is that you do have the reserves to get into the multi-unit arena, which is awesome, right? And not too many people have the privilege to be in, your case. Do you want to share your advice with the audience when it comes to, because I know you've been in real estate for some time, you've been in up and down cycles, but what type of advice would you recommend to people? Because I know you own properties, you understand real estate really well.
Well, listen, I'm always learning, and that's the reason why I joined to your wholesale and cash flow deal. And even though I have been in real estate, I mean, I have my properties, and but it's always new things coming up. And one thing that I have learned from those two groups, it's experience from other people. So you learn from experience. And there's also support because you got somebody to ask a question. And so you don't make mistakes, because in real estate, mistakes cost a lot of money. So that's what I will recommend people. Just, I mean, do what exactly you're doing right now. Surround yourself with people with experience, and just be open to learn, because there's always something to learn. Things change so drastically. Like we see right now, prices of houses are like crazy. And so we need to find a way around. And being surrounded by great people, and Hugo as a mentor, I mean, it's just the way to go. That's my advice to everybody, myself as well.
Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate your kind words. And absolutely, no, that is why we created the Wholesale in the Circle and the cash flow. Like in the cash flow, we have Christine. She's in the major leagues of multi-unit. I mean, she recently sold a 20-unit building. She understands the ins and outs of multi-unit. Okay, she's done even bigger buildings than that. So it's as Lou said, we have great people in the group. So when you join either the cash flow or the wholesale, I mean, you're going to be surrounded by an incredible brain power that you can tap into. I mean, it's just amazing. And that's what I'm blown away, right? Because my thing is that I try to stay away from the day-to-day operations, because the minute I try to do something, I become the bottleneck, right? So I rely on the best people for every aspect of the real estate transaction, right? So if I have a question about, let's say, multi-unit, boom, I'm gonna call Christine. If I want to do a door knocking, boom, I'm gonna call Bowen or David. If if we need funding, boom, we're gonna call our funding partners. So there's always somebody better than you, and they're going to do things faster, quicker, more efficiently, and cheaper than you will. So one of the mistakes that I want to make sure you don't make is try to do too much. So the more you try to take on, guess what? The less you're going to do, and the result is going to be very, very poor. So try to always work with the best. Be part of a group, and then brainstorm, mastermind, and that's what we do, right? Like, let me give you an example. I was chatting to one of our wholesale member. He's trying to do a flip. And he told me, Hugo, I'm super concerned, right? Because I put this property in the market. It's a seller's market and no offers. I told him, so give me the numbers, give me the price. It's in like range for 375. But how much did you pay for the property? I paid 230. How much was your rehab? Like 70,000. So all in is like 300,000. I said, right off the bat, you overpaid by 30,000 on this property. So you're going to be lucky if you break even on this property, right? So your best option is to turn that into a rental, because it's in a bad location right behind the train tracks. So that's a very negative factor, that you won't be able to sell that for 375. It's impossible. So things like that, as Lou said, you don't want to make big mistakes that can wipe you out overnight from real estate. So you do want to be part of a group where you have mentors, people that are like-minded investors, even with a lot more experience, because we're going to put you in a team with a team lead, right? The team lead usually has more experience, is a broker or a master's student. So it's super amazing, right, to work with incredible people. You'll be surprised. You are in the people's business. So join our live events. So in fact, one of our top wholesaler that is a very close friend of mine, Russell Walker, moved to Orlando. He's coming this weekend. So I'm going to have him home, do a barbecue. But what I'm thinking is I'm going to organize coffee with Hugo and Russell. Okay, so we can tap into his brain, right, and wisdom. So please stay tuned. We're going to send a text message, do coffee with Hugo this weekend, okay, at a coffee place in Chamber. It's going to be super powerful. Again, he's done hundreds and hundreds of wholesale deals. He owns 75 Airbnbs. He's in the pro leagues, okay? So again, a people's business, stay connected, and please join one of the groups. If you're not yet part of the groups, I send the link for either the wholesale group or the cash flow. Cash flow is focused on rentals and flips, okay? So you can join. We meet Tuesdays, 6:30 for the wholesale, and Sunday, 1 p.m. for the, Cash flow is Sunday, wholesale is Tuesday. Are there any other questions?